Hello, this is D, and I'm back with another video. Well, today I have a couple of CMA updates, what's going on in the UK. I also have some developing court details for the upcoming appeal in Microsoft's case against the CMA. And depending on how you look at things, these are pretty big updates. Now, first off, let's start off with Microsoft considering pulling the ABK deal from the UK. Now, this is coming from MP First, and I will leave a link in the description down below so you guys can check it out for yourself. Now, they are quoting MLX here, and according to a recent report published by MLX, Microsoft executives are actively exploring ways to close its acquisition of Activision Blizzard King despite facing a block from the UK. The CMA has currently issued an order which prevents Microsoft from acquiring any interest in Activision Blizzard or King, including their subsidiaries. The order is currently interim and expected to be made permanent soon. Therefore, in a response to this, MLX has learned that Microsoft has hired additional lawyers to find out possible ways to close the Activision deal despite the block from UK's CMA. One possibility includes the ABK exiting the UK and relocating to another European country outside the jurisdiction of the CMA. Through this scenario, Activision will continue to sell its games through a distributor. Another possibility that Microsoft is exploring is to unilaterally extend its remedies that it proposed to the EU, but the CMA rejected. However, something along those lines of those remedies were proposed already to the CMA, and this approach will require Microsoft to voluntarily implement measures to address concerns specific to the UK market. Now, that's a doozy. I think, first off, I think that ship has sailed with Microsoft and the CMA making a deal. I don't think the CMA is interested in the deal right now, and I think the only way they're gonna do a deal is if they get slapped by CAT with the appeal being ruled in favor of Microsoft. Apart from that, I don't expect any deals. They're already in court, they're spending money in court, and they want to win this case. Their grounds are very weak, like we've gone over so many times on this channel. Nonetheless, here we are. Now, Microsoft is exploring different options of getting out of the UK, and this is coming from MLX. So, you can't say I'm making this up. And I've seen a lot of people commenting on Twitter and different forums that Microsoft is not going to leave the UK. They can't leave the UK. They need the UK to do this deal. But we're hearing that they have hired lawyers to explore these different avenues that we've already talked about on the channel. So Microsoft can leave the UK. Now, I did speak briefly about this in another video, but we're getting a little bit clearer details right now that they could actually move to a different country that the CMA has no jurisdiction on and continue to sell its games in the UK through a distributor. Another option is closing the deal and just dealing with the repercussions and going to court and saying that the CMA is unlawful in how they ruled this deal. That's pretty crazy. So to all of you out there that thought that Microsoft can't leave the UK and they won't leave the UK, even though I showed you a video of Microsoft's CEO, Satya Nadella, stating otherwise, that he's going to see what happens. Let's see how this deal plays out, which didn't take it off the table. And now we're finding out that Microsoft has hired more lawyers to explore these very routes. So this is pretty crazy. Now, the article goes on to say that MLX understands that Microsoft is also looking at the possibility of going ahead with the acquisition itself and later argue in court the CMA's draft is illegal if challenged by legal action by the UK watchdogs. So these are options. They're not taken off the table. I don't think that that's what Microsoft wants to do. Satya Nadella, he doesn't want to leave the UK. I'm pretty sure of that because there's a lot of consumers over there. He doesn't want to deprive those gamers of those games. And of course, they don't want to negate their bottom line, which is making profit. And if you're not able to sell to the UK residents, to the UK's consumer base, then you're going to be losing money because there's millions of people out there that buy Microsoft products, that buy Xbox games. So I found that very interesting. Let's see how that plays out. As I get more information on that, I'll let you guys know. But as you know, Microsoft is in front of the UK courts. They're appealing the CMA's decision. And we have an update on that today. Now, this is coming from Fleury and Mueller. Like usual, I'll leave a link in the description down below. Now, he goes on to say that the CAT Tribunal has published the composition of the panel that will judge Microsoft's appeal on the ABK merger block. The president of the court, Mr. Justice Marcus Smith, presided over the first hearing alone, is now joined by two high-profile members. So as we scroll down here, the Professor Anthony Neuberger and Ben Tideswell. Now, he gives a little description on who they are and what they do in their profession. Now, I'm probably butchering his name, but Professor Anthony Neuberger, he's a professor of finance at Cass Business School at the City University of London, where since 2016, he has also been the deputy head of the finance faculty. Now, Justice Smith said at the hearing, the goal was to have an economist on the panel. So he's a professor of finance, so they're going to see if the numbers make sense, how the CMA came to their conclusion. And the fact that they have someone that is a professor in finance there, a so-called economist, this is going to bode well for Microsoft because they're going to be able to prove their point that the market is A, non-existent at 1 to 5%, and B, how the market will grow and how it will be good for the economy. Now, Fleury and Mueller goes on to say that some of the grounds of the appeal are economic in nature, starting with ground one, market definition. I trust he will not buy that 70% market share. Now, he goes on to say that Ben Tideswell is the CAT's chairman and was the global chairman of the Ashurst from 2013 to 2021. This is a major firm. They are represented by the European soccer body UEFA in a Super League case before the ECJ, for instance. Mr. Tideswell is originally from New Zealand. So this is going to be very interesting too because we don't have approval from New Zealand. I don't think they're going to block the deal, but we don't have an approval from New Zealand. Before this court case comes up, we could have an approval from New Zealand. And that's going to go heavily in favor of Microsoft in their appeal, especially when you have someone from a major firm that is going to be on the panel, and he's also from New Zealand. When his country approves the deal, that has to go in Microsoft's favor. I feel pretty confident on Microsoft's appeal. Things are looking good. We know that the CMA messed up their numbers because the EU has confirmed this with their ruling. So in closing, I'll say this. Microsoft can leave the UK. For all of you out there that said that Microsoft needs the UK for this deal to go through, we're seeing from today's evidence that that is not the case. They have hired additional lawyers to look into this, to explore these options. They can leave the UK altogether. They can finalize this deal and then just deal with the repercussions in court. They can go to a country that's outside the jurisdiction of the CMA and use a distributor to get their games into the UK. Now, if they were to take this route, I do believe that the games in the cloud and whatever results to benefits for the cloud from this deal, those would not be available in the UK, and UK residents would have to use a VPN. Now, I think Microsoft really wants this deal to go through in the UK. That's why they're in court right now. But if this court decision doesn't go in favor of Microsoft, they have these options. So I want to say right now to all the people out there saying on Twitter that Microsoft can't leave the UK, that is false. On all the forums saying that is false. They can leave the UK. This is not their first choice, however. So we're just going to have to see how this plays out in court. It's a very interesting case. And I think we've talked enough about it for today. I'll give you guys more updates as they come. I want to know what you guys think about all of this. Once again, I think this is great for Microsoft. I think things are going in their favor. I think they have a very strong case in court. I'm glad to see that the panel has some really high-level people on board. They have someone that will look at the numbers, someone that knows the economy. And overall, it's looking great for Microsoft. Anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. And like I usually say, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you guys on the next one.